Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are getting real. Welcome to all the returning subscribers and all the new subscribers. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting this platform. Today we are getting real. We're going to be talking about real issues. I am bringing you the author of this book. The book is entitled Broken No More, Memoirs of a Restored Girl. We are bringing somebody with a story that has been summarized in this book. A story of rejection, pain, but we thank the Lord because now she's talking from the fact that she has been restored. I'm not going to waste any time, and I'm not going to even try or attempt to introduce her because she's a phenomenal person, a trailblazer. Her profile is so rich. I don't want to miss anything. So I'm just going to give her the honors of introducing herself to you guys. Hello, Ma.
Hello, Ade.
Welcome to my platform. Thank you so much for honoring this invite.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Please, my family is here. Introduce yourself.
Hello, viewers. I don't know what honor means by a big profile. My name is Lemogang Chisuyano. I come from Roka village. I have three siblings. There's four of us, and then we are raised by my mom as a single parent. I studied at the University of Botswana. I attained a Master's of Education in Research and Evaluation. I'm currently studying for a biblical theology degree.
Amen.
With Assembly Bible College.
Amen.
Yeah.
I have with me a pastor, guys.
Pastor. Okay, don't buy that.
We are sitting in an anointed place. So, Lemo, you have a story for us, my dear. And you decided to publish your story.
Yes.
And I would like you be comfortable, relax, and take us through your story. You are telling us that at some point in your life you are broken, but as we are speaking now, no more. No more. Yes, please take them through your story.
Okay, viewers, like I said when I introduced myself, I was raised by a single parent. And that means my father was not a part of my life. One may wonder where he was. He was not necessarily late.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, my dad was not a part of my life, and the problem with him being absent was the fact that he made a lot of promises to me, all of which he never fulfilled. I don't remember him honoring any of the promises he made to me. He would call to say, I'm coming to see you tomorrow, and he would never pitch. Most of the times I'd miss out on my play dates with my friends, and I'd be waiting for him at home, sitting and looking pretty like I'm working right now.
Yes.
With all the composure well kept, because I wanted him to find me in my best days.
Yes.
And unfortunately he would never come.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
And while I didn't realize, that experience broke me more than I could ever tell. It was only many years later that I came to appreciate the level of hurt that I had experienced from my father, and the realization that a lot of my actions were to a large extent a response to his rejection was truly agonizing for me.
Yeah.
I think the last time he tried to make contact, I was at the University of Botswana. He called to say, I'm coming to see you.
Yeah.
You know, I sat there in the laboratory session, I put my phone close by,
Yes.
and I was so expectant that this time around he would call.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. And then after the lab session, I had to go wait in my room. I didn't go to the mall when my allowance had been credited. I wanted to go shopping,
I can imagine
and I
that.
just felt, no, I have to wait for this guy that I love so much.
Yeah.
But he never pitched, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And while I portrayed a picture of perfection, while I made it seem like it doesn't really matter. After all, my mom is here. After all, my mother loves me. I've grown up without him, so I can cope without him. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't realize though that while I projected a picture of perfection and gave people an impression that I was okay with it, in actual fact I was hurting deep inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about a man who promised to come when you're still at primary school. You went to the university.
Up to university.
Never pitched up.
Did I even mention that? I think when I completed my master's degree, I got a job as a program coordinator for SADC.
Yes.
We were conducting a study on sexual minorities in Zimbabwe, in Botswana, and in Zambia. So I flew to Zimbabwe. My father stays in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So I told him that I was going to be staying at Cresta for so many days. I gave him my itinerary. And then he said, I'll come see you.
Yeah.
But somehow I was still hopeful, you know.
Yes.
I remember that when I landed, I was expecting to find him at the airport. He wasn't there. I'm like, okay, maybe he was busy. Maybe, you know, I'll always find reasons to justify his behavior. And he didn't come. So I stayed in Harare for 3 days. I remember that when I called him on the third day, his phone was not going through.
Yeah.
And that crushed me.
Broken promises.
Broken promises.
Why did you really want to meet this guy?
My father speaks a lot of my identity. You know, having grown up in raised by the maternal side of the family,
Yeah.
they would always make sure that you feel out of place.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
My totem was different from theirs.
Exactly.
They used the same name that was their fathers, not their
Yes.
mothers.
Yes.
So they would always make sure that I fell out of place because why am I using my mother's surname and not my father's?
Yes.
So somehow I wanted to know my father and know my origins and know my identity.
Yes.
Like to know who I really am. So when people ask me, who name, I could have an answer.
Yes.
But unfortunately, he was not there to answer those questions. So that also left a lot of question marks in terms of my identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And can you please take us to the school? Remember when you are a child, everybody's talking about their father, but you haven't seen this person. Can you take us to your experiences when you're still at school and people are talking about their mother and their father?
Interestingly, my best friend growing up was a daddy's girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
So she was daddy this, daddy that, daddy this, daddy that. And it's a song I could never sing.
Yeah.
And when I was supposed to write about my family, people had normal families.
Yeah.
You know, the family tree is structured that is the father, the mother, and their children.
Yes.
But in my case, there was no such thing. So a lot of gaps would always be found whenever we had to deal with family issues and all that.
Yes.
So I would keep wondering, why doesn't this man want me?
Yeah.
What did I do so wrong that he should reject me like that? But these are questions I did not necessarily discuss with anyone.
Yeah.
I hoped for a platform. I don't even know how and why, but it never came. But I still had the questions. Why doesn't he want me? What did I do?
Yes. I know that a lot of mothers, they will tell you that why did you bother yourself with looking for this person? Did your mother allow you to pursue like having a meeting with your father? Because some other mothers will never take it.
I think for me, I'm privileged because my mom has never had issues with me relating with my dad.
Yeah.
I never had to sit down and ask her, what is my father's name, where is he from, and all that.
Yeah.
She gave me all those details.
Yeah.
And apparently he paid maintenance for me until I was 18.
Wow.
I only learned about it eventually, but the bottom line is I was not looking for his material provision. It's him I wanted. So that didn't really matter to me. My mother would bring me nice stuff. I would just think that my mother bought them because she just would get the money and buy stuff for me. But I didn't know that my father was actually paying maintenance for me. It didn't change the fact that I felt rejected and unwanted by him.
Yeah. Oh wow. So can you please take us now to the aftermath? Like having waited for your father and he never pitched up, how did that affect your life?
Now the thing with brokenness, let me look at you. So we get real.
Yes.
The thing with brokenness is that when you constantly go through a lot of painful experiences, I personally define brokenness as an alteration to your identity as a consequence of experiences that you have gone through.
Yeah.
So now my father constantly disappointed me. Because of the many disappointments, I was broken. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, I decided to alter myself. It was a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
When your heart gets hurt most of the times, it teaches your mind to protect your heart.
Yeah.
So you make decisions, even unaware, unintentionally, you make decisions to protect yourself as a shield.
Yes.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
One, I would never wait for anyone. If you tell me you are coming to meet me, if you have an appointment at 6 p.m. and you are not there by 6, I would leave. Because the last time I waited for someone, they didn't pitch, so I was not about to go through that again. The second thing, I had anger problems as a result. My father hurt me many, many times, and I never got to confront him about it. So whenever he would disappoint me, I would be hurt, I would be angry, but never to talk to anyone about it. So I had anger bottled up in me. I harbored a lot of negative emotions, and that translated into anger problems. So people described me rather as one who had a bad temper. But I only realized many years later, after I went through my healing process, that I didn't necessarily have a bad temper. It was an alteration of my behavior or my character because of the hurts that I experienced with my father. And the sad thing above all else, which I really want to emphasize in this session, is that my father's disappointments caused me to look at God through the lens of my father. So when God would make promises to me, I didn't buy his promises because I just felt that he is another father. He can make promises and not fulfill them. So I struggled to trust God. It was such a battle. I remember at one point I said to God, Lord, I know in my head that the Bible says I should trust you, lean in the Lord. Trust in the Lord and lean not upon our own understanding. But I know that I don't trust you. I see it in my actions. When you tell me to go south, I need to be sure that you're going to be there. When you tell me go there, like God would never say to me, like he said to Abraham, leave your country behind you and go to the land I will guide you to. Because I was never going to leave. I needed an assurance that when I get to that place, he'll be there. But because my father painted this picture of a father who disappoints you, a father who does not keep promises, I looked at God through those tinted glasses.
And now that you were broken, you had broken relationships. Can you please just share a little bit somebody? Because there's a chapter on broken relationships, because now you were broken, everything about you now.
There's a saying that goes, broken people break people.
Exactly.
Because of my brokenness, I think at 27 I was dating some handsome guy. I called him Araba in the book. And fine, when I relocated from the capital city I stayed in to stay in a village like 300 kilometers away, which was the first time we stayed apart. So obviously because of the distance, sometimes he would call and I would not be able to pick his calls. But should he miss my call, he would be in trouble. Why? Because I was linking him to the disappointments I experienced from my father. So if he says that he's coming to pick me up maybe at 6 p.m. I'm taking him out for dinner and he doesn't pick, I'll cancel. I would not even bother to like say what could have been the reason for the delay. I had no room for that. I remember he worked for the Civil Aviation Authority. So at one point he flew out of the country. And he didn't tell me that morning because apparently he had forgotten his phones at home. So throughout the whole day I tried to call him. I couldn't get hold of him. And then in the evening I sent him a very long text. I've groveled for my father's attention for a very long time. I'm not about to go through that with you. If you want to be here, stay. If you don't want to be here, leave. I'm not about to beg for your attention. Now, this poor child was paying for my father's mistakes because I failed to discriminate the pains I experienced from my father and the ones from him. And to tell you the truth, he had never done anything to disappoint me. I'll be lying. Of course, we had our differences because we're not identical twins, because in that they do have problems too. But he had never been a jerk, for lack of a better word. Wow. He was actually a nice guy, but because I had bottled up anger, I would just displace it towards him, unfortunately for him. So it was not only him. The reason why the chapter is broken relationships, it also goes to friendships and relationships with other brethren in church and other people, maybe even at work. Even at work they knew that you cannot toss me to and fro. Because I had to stand my ground and show that I'm not weak and vulnerable. So it just spreads across.
Because you gave an example of where you had an issue with a taxi driver or something like at the bus rank. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So can you now take us through the process of your healing? So
one day I was at church. My pastor was preaching about purpose. And then there's a statement, he says, this one I'll remember. I'll take it to the grave. He says, some of you are so afraid of getting close to God because you don't know what he'll ask you to do. And then those words weighed down on me. After the service I told him, you know, when you said these words, they were just so heavy. He says, make an appointment to see me. And then in my heart I'm thinking, is there a need for an appointment really? I was just saying, your message touched me. I made an appointment to see him. It seems like I just opened a can of worms, you know, and my brokenness for the first time was revealed to me. Now he showed me, the first question he asked me when I went for the session was, where is your father? And in my mind I'm thinking, what has this got to do with anything?
I'm not here for that.
I'm not here for that. I'm discussing purpose. You know, and I didn't know how to respond to that. I remember that I just person and asked him, "Are you looking for geographical location or?"
Oh, where he is?
And then he said, "Where is he in your life?" And then I said, "He's not a part of my life." And then he says, "That explains it." Okay. Well, I said, "Go deeper, man of God." And then he explained to me how my relationship with my father had affected my relationship with God. Now, the reason why I was afraid of getting close to God because I didn't know what he would ask me to do is because I had feared getting close to my father because of the many disappointments I experienced from him. So unfortunately, it translates to a relationship with God, even when we don't know about it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Like your experiences now affect even your relationship with God, because like you were saying, everything was on tinted glasses. Like what you went through is what you used to view life, in everything that you were going through. And I see here in your book, there's a chapter that you're talking about broken normal. That is the time you decided, now I have to deal with this monster, this brokenness that I have. And then that's when you started your process of healing. And in a nutshell, how can you say the process was? How did it help you to now come to a place that until you came to a place of restoration?
I think most of the times when we get hurt, we tend to shelve our pain somewhere in the unconscious mind, and we don't want to remember it. We want to keep it as far away as possible, like it never happened. So the first thing I had to do was to acknowledge that my father hurt me. I had to verbalize that, to say he disappointed me, he made promises that he did not fulfill. You know, and after acknowledging that, the second thing I had to do was to forgive him. That is the most important part of the healing process, to forgive my father. Now, let me say this to you viewers. Forgiveness does not mean that the person was right to do whatever they did to you. It does not exonerate them from their offenses. It doesn't even make them right. But it gives you the freedom you need. It sets you free. You know, when I forgave my father, prior to that, my pastor gave me an illustration of two wooden rods. Is it wooden rods? Metal rods. And then between them, he says, if there's a metal rod on the left, a metal rod on the right, and then there's a wooden rod in between them, no matter how high the currency is, the power can never be conducted because of the wooden rod. It's an insulator. So he says that this insulator represents my lack of forgiveness. The moment I remove that insulator, the power would be conducted from one wood to the other. You know. So I made a decision to forgive my father. Now, forgiveness is basically to say, I acknowledge that you hurt me. Today I make a decision to forgive you. Now, there's a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Maybe let me just mention that as I proceed. Reconciliation means you come back to relate with this person again. But forgiveness means you are letting go of the person, of the pain rather, and everything that they did to you. You don't necessarily need to reconcile. If room for reconciliation is there, then we can reconcile. But some of you need to forgive people who passed away many years ago. So there's no room for reconciliation in that case. But even after they are late, you still have to forgive them. So how do you do that? Verbalize it. I forgive you for making promises and not fulfilling them. It made me feel like this. When you made a promise and didn't fulfill it, it made me feel useless. It made me feel worthless. It made me feel like I'm not important to you. You'd make other things a priority, not myself. But for all the pain you put me through today, I decide to forgive you. When I started, I said you make decisions that alter your identity. Now the third thing is to reject those decisions. Refuse to not trust
the ones
anyone.
that you made because of your experiences.
Because I decided that I was never going to trust any man, for example, then I had to reject that decision. I'm gonna get married. How will my marriage thrive if I have trust issues? Now that brings us to some of the marital problems that people are facing today. They have to do with unresolved issues and brokenness on their part. Because I've been hurt by my father, because I don't trust my father, I'm likely to project that to my husband. If I've had a boyfriend or husband who has cheated on me before and I don't deal with that, I'm likely to project it to the next person. So whoever comes into the picture, if it's 6 p.m. and he's not home, I start calling, where are you? Who are you with? What were you doing? So because of that, you have to reject every decision of saying I want to trust any man. Reject the decision not to trust even God. You know, reject every decision you made as a result of that. And the last thing, which is the fourth thing, is to ask God to heal your heart.
Wow. As you were talking about the process, your counselor gave an example of a lady who has a lump in her breast.
Yeah.
Can you just a little bit touch on that? That if you are not going to confront your issues and deal with them, yeah.
My counselor gave an example of a lady with a lump in her breast. He said that if the doctor would give her options to say, you have a cancerous lump, we have two options. We can do a surgery and remove the cancerous lump and probably take you through chemo to bend the remaining cells. Surgery is painful, it's uncomfortable. It's up to you though. You can decide to ignore the lump and pretend it's not there and walk tall and look all good and pretend it's not there. But unfortunately, while you ignore it, it's growing. And the other alternative is to go for surgery and let them cut your breasts. You will remain with the scars, of course, but they'll remove the lump and then take you through the treatment that you need to go through, and then you'll be healed. So if you decide to ignore it and pretend it's not there, it does not solve the problem. It will find a way of erupting. Ultimately, it catches up with you. The cancer might just spread throughout your whole body, and before you know it, you will die of cancer. Yet you could have avoided it.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Lebo. So, in closing, how is your relationship with your dad now?
I have a wonderful relationship with my father.
Wow.
Wow, I'm amazed that I'm actually smiling.
Yeah.
After I forgave him, my pastor even said to me, my pastor was my counselor.
Yeah.
He said to me that, once you forgive someone, it seems like there's a shift in the spiritual realm that reconnects people, that removes all the hurdles and all the barriers. So after I forgave my father, at one point he called me. I think maybe I should just go back a bit and say, when I was doing my 30th University of Botswana, he called me and then he said, I'm your father. I told him I don't have a father. Why? Because I was still bottling a lot of anger. But the second time he called me, he says, I'm your father. And then I said, how are you, Daddy? It was the first time I called him like that. Somehow when I forgave him, now the bitterness towards him was gone. The anger towards him was gone. All the pain he had caused me had vanished. So now when he calls and says, I'm your father, I recognize him as my father.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we have a good relationship. He calls me often and we converse about this and that. He'll ask me how is life, what I'm doing at the moment. He knows when I'm planning to leave my job. He knows all those details.
What a beautiful story, Lemo. What a beautiful story. All I can tell you guys is to get this book for yourself. Get this book for yourself, because even at the end of this book, there's an exercise that Lemo used to deal with her brokenness. Like for example, she gave an example. I would say when she was 9 years, her father promised to visit her and the father did not pitch up. The emotions that came out of that incident was because she was left disappointed, she was hurt, and she felt unloved. And the decision she made out of that experience is that she never trusted men, and she lived her life like that. She never trusted men until she decided to confront all the hurts and everything and came to a place of restoration. This is a very beautiful book. It is you can finish it in a day or before the end of the day. And I recognize the fact that, Lemo, you have dedicated this book to your mom. You're saying that, thank you, mommy. Thank you, mom, for giving me a legacy that no one can take away from me. You are an unsung hero, and I just want to join Lemo today and celebrate her mother and say thank you so much, Mako Lemo, for supporting her, for never standing on her way to have a relationship with her father, because not most mothers can do that. They can't do that. They will tell you that guy was not there, that guy did not take part in your life. Why do you bother yourself about looking for that? But the most important thing is that for a child, there must be a mother and a father. That relationship is very important for their development and for their life. And I cannot say anything more. You need to get this book. And I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lemo, for sharing your story. I believe all of us in our lives, we have faced rejections in different ways. We have been hurt. We are broken. It is important that we confront our brokenness. We deal with our heads. Like I was saying, a little exercise is here to guide you. It has been awesome. It has been awesome. I believe you have learned something. And I just want to encourage you to engage with us by commenting on the comment section. Share your story with us on the comment section. Like this video, share it with some people who you know they need it. Definitely somebody in your circle needs to hear this and needs to deal with their issues. Thank you so much for deciding to tune on. We'll meet again on the next video. Thank you so much.